Hey, sweeties. So I just finished watching Kidnap episode 5, and wow, where do I even start? This episode had me feeling so many things. Confused, happy, frustrated, but mostly just excited because things are really heating up. So let's dive right into it, and I'll talk through it like we're watching it together. First of all, episode 5 picks up right where episode 4 left off. And honestly, tell me I'm not the only one who was holding their breath when Min and Q were about to kiss. Like, come on, I was so ready for it. This was the moment, but nope, my dreams were crushed. Min had to stop it, and I'm just like, seriously? He's always so cautious when it comes to Q. And let's not even talk about Q being completely in the moment. You could tell he was ready to lean in, but Min's all like, cut. It's just so typical of him, right? He never lets things get too far, and it's a little frustrating, but at the same time, Q's always so serious, and Min, well, he's Min. The way they goof around like kids sometimes is just hilarious. One second they're acting all intense, and the next they're playing around like they don't have a care in the world. But then things start getting interesting again. Men ask Min about the whole bodyguard job situation, and you can tell that he's a little confused. He's wondering why Min is still doing the stuntman job when there's this big bodyguard gig waiting for him. Honestly, I'm with men on this one. Why is Min dragging his feet? Like, dude, you've got this major job lined up. Just go for it already. But I guess that's what makes Min who he is. He's got all these layers, and you can tell that something's holding him back. Maybe he's afraid of getting too involved or too close to Q. Who knows? Anyway, Min finally goes back to his bodyguard duties, and this is where things get intense, you guys. He overhears his boss, Yada, talking to Sue about Q's dad, and you can just see the realization hit him. The dots start connecting. And Min realizes that the person he's working for is tied to the case Q's dad is handling. It's a total light bulb moment for him. And I was sitting there like, oh snap, Min, you're in deep now. And to make matters worse, Min realizes that the people who hired him to kill Q are linked to all of this. What a twist, right? Like, talk about a plot twist I didn't see coming. This is getting so good. Then Yada starts talking about how she's going to target Kacha's weakness. And guess what? Q is Kacha's weakness. Of course, Min is completely caught off guard by this. I mean, here he is trying to protect Q, and suddenly he's working for the people who want to use Q as leverage. It's crazy. And Min being Min, he tries to quit. He doesn't want to be part of this anymore, but Sue isn't having any of it. He tells Min that once you're in, there's no getting out. That part had me stressed out because you can tell Min is in way over his head, and there's no easy way out of this mess. Meanwhile, Men is over there training Q on how to escape if he's ever tied up, and let me tell you, Q is not great at it. He's struggling to get it right, and I couldn't help but laugh a little. It's moments like these where Q's vulnerability really shows. He's so used to being in control, but when it comes to things like this, he's a bit out of his element. He even asks Men to loosen the ropes, but Men, being stubborn, refuses. Then Q hits him with, if it were Min, he would have helped. And I was like, oh, he's really thinking about Min, huh? Men, of course, picks up on it and starts asking Q all these nosy questions, like whether he and Min are just friends. I'm over here thinking, Men, you're not wrong. There's definitely something more going on between them. Men even straight up ask Q, how would you feel if Min likes you as more than a friend? And what does Q do? He brushes it off like, come on, Q. We all know there's something between you two, but I guess he's not ready to admit it yet. Classic Q, always avoiding the feelings. So then Q offers to take Min's keycard to him, and this is where everything blows up. Min is freaking out, telling Q not to come in because he knows that if Q finds out the truth, it's over. But does Q listen? Of course not. He sneaks in anyway and discovers everything Min has been trying to hide. And when Yada sees Q, she tries to convince him that they're on the same side. She says they both want the same thing, for Q's dad to drop the case. I wasn't buying it for a second, and I'm pretty sure Q wasn't either. Then the power goes out, and at first I thought Min might be behind it, trying to help Q escape. But nope, the biggest shocker of all hits. Sue has been working with Q's dad this entire time. He's been undercover gathering intel to bring Yada down. I did not see that coming. And on top of that, Q's dad knew exactly where Q was all along. He wasn't worried because he believed Q was safer with Min. That's a lot to process, right? Now that Yada knows where Q is, things are looking pretty dangerous. Min rescues Q, but Q is pissed. He thinks Min's been playing him this whole time. Min tries to explain, but Q isn't having it. It's such a sad moment because Min cares so much for Q, but Q is feeling so betrayed. They even sleep in separate rooms, which just made my heart ache. But even though they're apart, Min stays close because he knows Q always has nightmares. And sure enough, Q has another one and runs out to find Min. And guess what? Min's already there, waiting for him just like always. That moment when Min tells Q that he'll always protect him. My heart. You can feel the love between them, even if they're not saying it out loud yet. It's so sweet and heartbreaking at the same time. They care about each other so much, but they're both too scared to admit it fully. So yeah, episode 5 was a roller coaster, sweeties. What do you all think? Do you think Min will be able to protect Q? And how do you think this whole thing with Yada is going to play out? I'm so excited to see what happens next. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And as always, stay sweet, and I'll catch you in the next episode